Hey, this is a Hakawati production. My guest today is a double threat. He's a rock star, and he also has a pretty cool day job. He's the drummer in the popular Lebanese indie band Mashrou Leila, but he's also a trained architect who just launched his own architecture studio last March. As a musician, he's been featured on the cover of Rolling Stone and GQ magazines in the Middle East. But he's also been featured on the covers of architecture magazines, including Architectural Digest Middle East. He's a great all-around guy, and we're so lucky he's joining us from Paris today. Please welcome Carl Gerges. Hi, Carl. It's great to have you with us.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. How's Paris these days?
Very good. It's a bit rainy, but it's good for a change.
Yeah, it's nice when it's been kind of hot. Is it quiet?
Quiet. I mean, no, I think people got used to living with COVID, so bars and restaurants are full. People are taking their precautions, but I think they're living normally, almost normally.
It's so weird how different things are happening in different cities, because I know New York, for instance, is like a ghost town right now. And then Montreal, where I'm from, about to lock down again for several weeks. All the restaurants are going to shut down. It's really weird.
Yeah. Even in Paris, I think restaurants are closing early. But I think we got used to this rhythm.
Yeah.
So as long as bars are, filled with people at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., it's an achievement.
Yeah. Well, early birds.
Yeah.
So, you are a rare example of someone who's quite successful in two completely different careers. You are a drummer in a band that's pretty famous all over the world, and you just opened your own architecture practice, and it seems that's going pretty well based on the attention that you're getting from the media. Do you think that your success as a musician, the fact that you're kind of well-known and your name is out there and your face has made it easier for you to transition into architecture, having your own firm, and then if you were, let's say, a lawyer or a doctor who decided to have this second career?
Thank you. I think that the two careers work hand in hand. There are two fields that are intertwined in a way. And I've always did architecture. This is how I met the guys. This is how we started the band. We met in architecture and design school in the UB. And I never really stopped being an architect. So it was quite natural to launch my own studio. I was just waiting for the right moment. And it never came, actually. I was waiting for the past 5 years for the right moment, and I was still postponing the official launch of my studio. And then COVID happened, and actually I don't know how I got a lot of press on this villa that I did back in 2017, and I just decided to launch my studio. It just happened. And of course, being in a band helped me in a way, because I have a lot of contacts and I've been traveling all around the world. So it's pretty inspiring to meet a lot of people. And even creatively, it's been a creative journey, a long creative journey.
So, by the way, that villa looks really cool. It's your house, right?
Thank you. No.
Oh, it's not?
I wish it was my house. No, it's for a client. I designed it back in 2017. Actually, it's a very long story, because back in the days I wasn't really planning on launching my own studio. So I agreed to sign an NDA with this client who really wanted to stay anonymous, and he didn't really want to reveal the location of the house, or he didn't want any photos taken. So I agreed and signed the NDA. And a couple of years later, when the villa was done, it was really it was as I imagined it. So I really wanted to showcase it, to show it to the world. So I produced photoreal renders, and those are the images that I'm sharing online, and that got me a lot of press, etc.
What kind of images are those? It's not like a regular photo shoot?
No, they are they're computer simulated.
Oh, okay. Okay. Renders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so you don't actually have even the images, like real images.
No, I'm not allowed.
So whose house is it?
To take pictures. I can't say. it's the whole point of the
I
like
know.
not like yeah.
I thought
Sorry.
I thought maybe you'd change your mind and break the
No, it's
silence.
not. Yeah, no, I can't say, and I can't say the exact allocation, and yeah, it's sad, but I mean, at least I have the renders.
Well, anyways, it looks really cool. It's a beautiful house. So
Thank you.
obviously, you're good at architecture and interiors as well. So I can see what you mean, that the creativity that you pour into your music kind of spills into that aspect of your work. But what is it like being a rock star? Because I mean, so you're an architect, but then when you're on stage and you have like thousands of fans screaming for you, like that's a whole different life for you, right? Or a whole different personality.
Yes, I mean it's fun to to juggle between the two personas. An architect is supposed to be serious and like the opposite of a rock star, I guess. Like because I have to deal with with real clients, and they have their concerns, and I have to really know them. As when I'm on stage, I'm like playing a role almost. I'm on the drums. I'm just performing, and it's fun to juggle between the two because it gets toxic. Being on tour all the time, you forget you forget about being in touch with like real people and with you know what I mean. When you're on tour, every 2 days you're in a new city. You have different audiences, different stages. I don't even remember, like everything is really blurred in my mind. So architecture like enables me to be more grounded in a way.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. I don't think most people can relate to that rock star lifestyle where you're traveling all the time. You don't have a home base. It must kind of change your mindset in some ways. So I imagine it would be great to have this like other outlet for you that would balance you, because that's probably why a lot of rock stars end up being a little, unbalanced.
Depressed, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it must be
Yeah, I
lonely
was.
also.
Yeah, it's very difficult. It was tough for me to get used to this lifestyle because when you tour, usually you go for a month straight, and then you come back to Beirut or wherever your hometown is, and then you spend a month at home. The clash is really huge between the adrenaline rush that you have during touring and concerts and interviews, and it's like every hour you have something planned, and when you're back in Beirut, you're just sitting at home. This contrast gets really it's very tough to handle it,
Hmm.
and it gets a bit depressing, I have to say. So thank God, it's important to have another passion that you can use, to get out of this state. And this is what I do with architecture. And even when I'm like writing music and I reach a dead end, I just switch to architecture and try to get inspired and then come back to music. It's like really back and forth, a lot of back and forth between the two fields.
Yeah, because so when you're touring and performing, I imagine you get so much attention that it kind of feeds into your ego and to your self-confidence, and then when it all goes away, then you maybe the silence kind of causes you to question, what are those people giving you out all that attention for? And then if that's not there, what's left? I mean, are these some of the things that go through your head?
Yes, and like we've been doing this for the last 10 years. So in a way, we all know how to handle it. We all get depressed together.
Yeah.
So like when we talk to each other 2 3 days after a tour, we're all like on Netflix, just eating and drinking and just, we know how to handle it. We know that we have 5 days of transition between touring and normal life. But yeah, it's the hype, it's being on stage, it's the audience, most of like the attention that you're getting 24/7 that completely disappears when you get back home.
But do you get recognized? Like, are you at that level? Mashrou Leila is really well known in many parts of the world, but it's still kind of an indie band. Do you get recognized when you go out in the street or when you go out to bars and stuff?
I mean, yes, it happens, of course. It's always a bit awkward, but it happens regularly, I guess. And it also depends on the city. I mean, if we're in San Diego, it won't happen, but in the big cities in Paris, London, New York, LA, San Francisco, we have a large fan base in these cities. 5 years ago, in the Arab world, like in Egypt and Jordan, etc., when we were allowed to play there, it was really, really intense. Like we couldn't walk on the streets.
So it must be weird also, like do people, do your fans like try to date you and stuff? Like they follow you around or try to befriend you? I mean, is that what happens? I would think it would be weird and scary.
I mean, no, it's not scary. It was fun at the beginning. Then it gets a bit, intrusive, especially when they come to our hotels, and we started giving fake names in the hotels in Egypt because like fans were literally hanging out in the lobby, and when you're hanging out in the hotel, you're in your pajamas almost. You're just chilling, so you don't really want to be not bothered, but like you don't want to take selfies and photos while you're just waking up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah,
You have to do your makeup.
no, but I mean, in the morning, I'm not. I wake up very early. I'm a morning person, but I don't really like to talk to people when I wake up. I like to do my workout, or like to run or to swim, and then to have breakfast, and then I'm ready to face the world, I guess.
Okay, well, now we know that about you. Nobody call him before what, noon? Something like that?
No. I wake up very early, like at 6, at 8 a.m. I'm good to go.
Oh, okay. That's super early. So, so you guys just did this amazing fundraising concert for victims of the Beirut explosion with Mika, who's quite a popular artist in the UK. How did you guys manage to do that with this whole COVID situation?
We've been operating like this for a year almost because we had our problems before COVID. We had problems with the band, and two members had to leave Beirut, and they were living in New York. So we got used to working on FaceTime, on Skype, on Zoom, you name it. So Mika approached us. He wanted to have us perform in the fundraiser that he organized, the I Love Beirut concert, and we really got excited. And we didn't really think about the limitations. I mean, me and Firas were living in Ashafieh. We didn't have a house. Both our houses got completely destroyed because of the explosion. So we just went on board with the concert and figured how to make things work later. I mean, I worked on the song on my laptop at my parents' house during the night because during the day I had reconstruction happening in my apartment, so I had to stay on site. It was a really, really stressful phase, actually, but I think we managed to create something nice, and we raised almost actually more than €1 million. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. Is it still like, can people still watch it online?
Yes, actually, the concert really did the tour of the whole world. It was streamed live, but then it got streamed in Japan, in China, like in Asia, then in Australia, in the States, in Canada, and now it's like going on French TV. So tonight on France 2, I think it's also showing.
Oh, cool.
So yeah.
But so you can't just watch it for free like on YouTube?
Not yet. Like the whole point of this is to get funding for Beirut, So at some point, I guess we will release it on YouTube, but I think it's too early.
Yeah, definitely. If you're still monetizing, that's great.
Yeah. Like we're getting a lot of like people wanting to support, so it's great. It's great.
I mean, and it's also keeping kind of the conversation going because it seems like it's kind of fading into the background. And obviously, so many homes have not been rebuilt. So many people still don't have a place to stay. There's so much still that needs to be fixed. So that's great. I love the name of your band, by the way. Mashrou means project, right?
Yeah.
Did I say that right? Mashrou?
Yes, Mashrou.
Mashrou. And Leila can either be a girl's name or it can mean one night. So it's either a one night project or Leila's project, which actually, now that I'm saying it out loud, it kind of reminds me of like one night stand.
Exactly.
I don't know why.
You got it right.
Is that what it is?
Actually, like when we started the band, it wasn't meant to last that long. It was supposed to only be a one night stand. And we were supposed to perform in AUB for one concert. So we had to find a name last minute, and we came up with Mashrou Leila. And then when the concert happened, we realized that we wanted to push it further, and we saw that we already had like people, like people appreciating our music. So we changed the name to Mashrou Leila. We thought that Leila is, it's a beautiful Arabic name, used a lot in literature and poetry. So
Yeah.
we thought it was a nice play on words.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful name. Hard for people like me to pronounce, but it's really beautiful. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of like that girl that you go out with and have a one-night stand, and then you end up getting married.
Exactly. And a lot of people thought, Leila was this mysterious woman, like an ex or something, or our muse. But it wasn't really like just a name.
A night. It was just for a night.
Yeah.
Cool. So how involved are you in the band besides being the drummer? A lot of times people assume that the drummer is kind of like the guy that keeps the rhythm going, Do you write a lot of the music?
Yes, actually, it's the way we operate. Usually, we each try to compose, the whole song almost, and with time, I learned how to play the piano when I was really young, and then I switched to drums, and then back to piano. So I did also a lot of instruments, and I can play, basic chords on guitars, and I can play the bass and keyboard. So, with time, you try to when you want to convey a musical idea, you can't just play the drums and convince them that you have a great idea. So you need to add layers of instruments and chords and melodies, etc. So yes, I compose a lot with the band, and I also work a lot on visuals and on stage design.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love, when you're on stage, I love the way we interact with lighting and screens, and especially because we sing in Arabic and we're touring in Europe and in the States. It's important that we also bring something else, to our show, because people don't necessarily speak Arabic. They don't speak the language. So you need to add layers to the performance to for them to
be entertained.
Be able to exactly, not just entertained, but get in the mood of the songs and get in our universe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so this visual aspect is really important, and I love working on it also.
So you mentioned earlier that two of the members are in New York now. They couldn't stay in Beirut. So Hamid and Haig Mazbout, right?
Yeah, yes, Mazbout.
What's the reason that they had to leave Beirut? I know that you guys have faced quite a lot of controversy. You released your fourth album last year in 2019, The Beirut School, right?
Yeah.
And you were not allowed to do your show in Egypt. And then you had problems at the Byblos International Festival in Lebanon, which is a huge deal, and it's your own country, a country where there are 50% of the population is Christian. And, because people think, okay, Egypt, it's a Muslim country, maybe they're more conservative. And then, you were banned from doing the Byblos Festival. What happened there, and why are two of the members not living in their own country?
Actually, it's a lot more complicated than it sounds.
That.
I don't think religion plays a role here. It's it's a problem that is deeper than that. I'll get to it in a bit. And Hamid and Haig left before we got all those problems for personal reasons. They weren't really happy in Beirut, and they just wanted to move to New York. It was a pure coincidence that we got all these problems in Lebanon. They were already living in New York. So they didn't really flee the country. But I admit that now it's a bit more difficult for them to want to come back, because the situation is really difficult, and because of the problems that we had in Byblos. And the problems that we had, unfortunately, in our own country are really I don't know how to explain it, actually, because it was very hard for us to deal with this. It all started with fake accusations and fake news and fake stuff.
Okay, so how did it get started? I know there was something about a Virgin Mary post.
Yeah, the Virgin Mary post was an article that a professor did in Harvard in 2015 about, Madonna in Italian means Madonna the Virgin. So there was this analogy between the icons and the pop icons and the church icons. So it was an interesting article that Hamid shared online in 2015, and 4 years later, someone digged in the archives, and Hamid had removed this article from Facebook in 2015 when we got banned from Jordan. So there were people like digging in our past and going through like literally all our interviews and just editing stuff in and out, like modifying the image, doing like montages on Photoshop, like literally sometimes taking our faces and putting them on church icons. We literally had nothing to do with everything that was circulating, and it happened so fast and so aggressively, and we were portrayed as the enemies of the religion and like Satanists, and it even got to reach a point where we were Israeli spies. And we still get phone calls today from Amn al-Am, like they're still investigating the fact that we're Israeli spies.
Oh my
So it's
gosh.
really like literally everything got so ridiculous and so out of hand. So I don't really like to talk about this phase because we literally couldn't do anything about it. We were just, how do you say?
Yeah, you were at the mercy of what was happening. You were in the center of the storm.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Like we were overwhelmed with
The eye of the
hate
storm.
messages, with death threats. I literally received hundreds of death threats on my personal phone, on my WhatsApp, of people sending me pictures of guns and of them
Wow.
in videos like shaking and literally saying that we're devil worshippers and we have to be hunted down, etc. So it was a really very tough period for me. It was a year and a half, like last summer actually. And since then, it was really back downhill. In Lebanon, we had the fires, we had the economical crisis, we had COVID, we had the explosion. So we didn't have a great year.
Yeah, it's been a really tough year. But for everyone around the world, I know it's like a cursed year. It's really, well, yours was started in 2019. So, but you say it's not religious, but I mean, in the end, it was a religious,
I mean,
mhm.
religion was used as a facade to create this like propaganda, but it was a lot more complicated. It was extremely political. It had it. Yani, I don't know. I don't want. I can't. Like, I don't want to go back into the details, but it was really like political and very unfair and very corrupt. And
Yeah,
we
shocking that there would
yeah.
be anything corrupt in Lebanon. Really, I'm shocked. But
But yeah, we were so close. We were like literally seeing the corruption and the lies,
yeah.
and we were really close to this. And we got arrested, and we got beaten up, and we got
Oh my
like we
gosh.
literally had the worst 2 weeks of our lives, and it was out of control. And the fake news were just keeping coming. Yeah, like they were just keeping circulating on WhatsApp, on Instagram, on Facebook. People were literally being super creative with what they were posting, and they were accusing us of anything, like everything. Actually, we
Yeah.
received a lot of lawsuits. People just accusing us of blasphemy, accusing us of devil worshipping, accusing us of uh, encouraging youth to do drugs and alcohol and being Israeli spies and being and they even accused us to we organized this whole revolution. And what was really funny that we were on tour in the States, and we started receiving pictures of bearded guys in Beirut on the scooters, and they thought they were saying it was us, burning tires and stuff, and we were literally in New York performing at the Met. So
That's hilarious.
yeah,
Kind of, in a sad
it was
way.
sad.
But again, it's like I think because we didn't mention that in Egypt you were banned. The singer in the band is an openly gay man. He came out gay. So is that kind of what caused all the initial kind of problems to arise, like when you first started, when he first came out? And do you think then that all these things that happened afterwards were as a result of people who wanted to shut you down mainly because of that?
No, it may be a factor. It's not an important factor. I think it's what we represent that is the main problem. We represent freedom of speech. We represent, like, we talk about a lot of taboos that aren't really allowed to be spoken of in the area, in the region. And I guess this is the main problem. And what happened in Egypt is that we performed in front of 35,000 people, and I guess the government there wasn't expecting that we had such a huge following, and that people knew our lyrics actually and loved our music. They were literally singing all the songs throughout the whole concert. So I think it's what we represent more than Hamid's sexuality, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's the whole thing, I guess. It just goes against every value that religious organizations try to propagate. So I think it still goes back to the religious thing, because, you're talking about places where countries
Not just
where
that,
the country where
it's
the
women's rights. It's like
yeah.
basic rights.
Yeah, but this
It's
has
not
to do with religion also. You're talking about countries where the religious system has so much power that they can, get the police to come and interview you and, affect like if you're allowed to perform or not. Because, in the West, for example, they feel so strongly about equal rights and the freedom of expression, that they've separated the religious and legislative parts of their societies so that clerics would never have a say in whether a band can perform. I mean, the band would have to be really, really, really like blasphemous to not be allowed to perform in the US, right? Like, I mean, it would have to be like they'd have to like murder someone on stage.
Yes, of course, we're very far from that. But I think the only time that religious people stopped us was in Lebanon. Like in Egypt, it was the authorities. In Jordan, it was the tourism Ministry of Tourism. It wasn't really religious groups, and
No,
they
they're not
stopped us
groups, but
because of
you feel like they're kind of intertwined, like it's part of the society and part of the country.
maybe I don't know. I don't know. I don't really. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It's very complicated.
Yeah, it is complicated. I'm not sure either, but from my perspective, when having grown up in the West, like you don't see these things, and when you look at a society from my perspective, you see that all these values like that are like this Ministry of Tourism, the Ministry of Tourism should only care about tourism, and they should be happy to have you. I mean, they'd be so lucky to have your band playing in their country. There's not that much else to do.
I guess you're right.
Except for
I think
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, anyways, I know you've talked
Nothing
about
makes sense anymore.
No, and I know you've talked about this so much, and that you kind of tired of harping on it and you want to move forward. So I totally respect that. So my next question is a lot more personal. You're obviously super creative, which already kind of sets you apart from, most people don't make their lives about their creativity. But also most men and most people, in fact, in this part of the world feel the need to have like a normal career, get married, have a family, and then they'll have fulfilled their higher purpose. And then there are a few people like you who seem to be pursuing their higher purpose first, and then that's really the focus of their life. Would you say that kind of like how do you approach your life?
It's a very tough question because I don't see it that way. I guess I have every day I wake up with a drive to create, to create stuff. So this is why I guess I became an architect to begin with, because since I was a child, I love to draw and to paint and to build, those small models and Legos, etc. So this is why I wanted to become an architect, and I guess like I don't know, I've never thought about it really. I mean, I see my friends getting married and having I don't know if it's a typical path. I don't know, and especially now this year has been very I've been very lost this year. It's been very difficult to plan ahead and to take any life-changing decision. So I don't know how to answer this question, honestly.
Yeah, maybe that's just my opinion because I've also seen you in yoga classes. Maybe that influenced my thinking because not you're really good at yoga. I've seen you do it.
Really?
Which is
Thank you.
yeah, not a lot of guys are good at yoga. Um, I love yoga personally because especially if it's like kind of challenging and fast paced yoga. I've never gotten into like the slow, stretchy, breathy stuff. So I know a lot of people don't like it because it's like that. But classes like the one I've seen you at that are kind of keep you, on your toes the whole time are kind of cool. But I love it because I feel that it keeps it keeps me fit, but it also
Yeah.
clears your mind and helps you focus, which is really important, I imagine, when you're performing. But as a creative person, to be able to concentrate on something that you're not showing up at a job, you have to motivate yourself to do it and to focus on and create your own focus and goal. I don't know if you know what I mean. You're not being given
Yes,
tasks.
you're completely right. And in a way, it helps me also having a routine, because of I don't I don't have a regular lifestyle, so I travel a lot. I go through different time zones, and I switch between music and architecture. So I need to have something that's a bit stable and grounding. So yoga does this. It brings a rhythm to your life in a way, and it's a good break, I guess, that we take. It's an hour and a half of like just breathing and focusing and doing those movements.
How often do you do it?
I try to do it often. I usually try to at least do one activity per day. So it's either running or swimming or yoga or gym, or it depends also on the country. If it's like in Paris, if it's raining, I love running under the rain. So I go running in the morning. And when it's too hot, I like just staying in, just going to the gym or doing yoga indoors. And if I have access to a pool, it's perfect. I go swimming. It really depends on the circumstances. But when I'm in Beirut, I do like everything every day.
All of those activities?
Like I try to stay active because there are so many things that bring you down in Beirut. You need to find something that makes you happy, I guess.
Yeah, I totally get you with that. So, they have like naked yoga in some of these big cities. Would you ever try that?
I never tried it, but I would maybe. Why not?
You would?
Could be interesting. Like I'm open to I'm open to new experiences. Yes, why not? It depends also where it is and who's going, it's and the number of people also.
Yeah, I see. Any guy in the Middle East would be like, yeah, totally.
Yeah, it could be fun.
Yeah, I guess.
Like I do a lot of sauna naked.
Hmm.
So like I don't know what why we're talking about naked
Do you
people,
have a
but yeah,
sauna in
I
your house?
no, no, no. Like at the club, we usually go inside naked.
Okay.
So it's not something very new.
It's something very nude.
Nude.
Yeah. So great. Well, I think we really got to know you a lot better today, and thank you
Yes,
so
yes.
much for agreeing to talk with us. What are you working on next?
Actually, I'm in Paris. I'm just trying to take a break from everything, and we're also working on this track that we released with Mika in Beirut, the Promised Land, where we are working on the recordings and on the mix, etc. And we might release it soon because it got a lot of positive feedback and a lot of people shared it already and listened to it already. So we got a lot of requests to properly release it. So we're working on this, and I'm just like enjoying the city and the sky, because like in Beirut, it's been 2 months. We've only so like skies that were burning or dusty or
Yeah.
polluted, and just having a sky that's clear is already like a blessing, I guess.
Yeah, I can see that. Also, just to have like normalcy, normal money, normal people going about their business.
It's funny. Yesterday there was jets flying, I think, a bit low, over Paris.
Yeah, I saw that. And there was a sonic boom, right?
There was a sonic boom, and I was with a friend at home, and we literally jumped from the couch. We thought it was an explosion, and then we just like took a step back and realized that it's just like a sonic boom. And people started messaging us on WhatsApp, like especially Lebanese people, like there was an explosion in Paris. Are you all right? It's a reflex we developed.
Post-traumatic stress, definitely. It's like a Pavlovian reflex for Lebanese people.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny how we can be like triggered.
Yeah, by loud noise. So I can't wait to see the video. Are you guys going to wear those amazing costumes, the capes again? You had some nice capes during the concert. I saw that were created by Caroline Lang, an amazing designer based in Beirut. Are you guys going to wear those for the video?
I think so. I guess so. I hope so, because the capes are in Beirut and we're each in a different continent, literally. So I don't know how we're going to organize the whole thing. But yes, because I think like the story behind those capes is that Karine wanted to pay tribute to the vitraux, the stained glass of the Censored Palace that literally got shattered.
Yeah,
so
it's a famous museum. We just to say it, that's a famous house in Beirut that served as a museum. It's one of the most beautiful houses and a lovely museum in the city. There's a cute cafe there. It's one of my favorite places to go, or was my favorite. And sadly, as you pointed out, it was destroyed really badly during the explosion. And then shortly thereafter, the owner of the property passed away, correct?
Yes, exactly. And in a way, it represents also, all the architectural heritage of Beirut. Like it's one of the most beautiful landmarks of the city that it really got heavily damaged. So yeah, it was a tribute to the architecture, to Lady Cochrane, who passed away, and to our city.
Yeah, well, I love everything you're doing, love what you do and what you guys stand for. So keep up the great work and best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are you back in Beirut?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll see you when I get back.
Inshallah, as Joe Biden would say.
Perfect.
All right, Carl, have a good one. Thank you so much for being here today with us. If you enjoyed the podcast, please be sure to click that subscribe button so you'll know when our new episodes come out. And be sure to follow us on social media. Lots of love. Hope to see you again soon.